If somebody had seen me when I was 10 years old, they would have said, "I'm going to grow up and be like his dad. Be a plant manager, go to college and become an executive, raise a family, do all the usual things." But at 13, I discovered alcohol. Had a drink. Didn't know at the time that that was going to cause serious ramifications later. I had a drink. I didn't know I was going to become addicted to this stuff. I didn't know that I was already basically addicted to that stuff. So we'd go to Yonge Street and we'd panhandle and we'd get 99 cents. And then the three of us that were sharing that room would go back to a wine store and we would get a bottle of wine, and then we'd go to the alleyway that was beside the flophouse. I can remember as if it were yesterday. The conversation went something like, tomorrow I'll get a job. Tomorrow I'll be the finest salesperson there ever was. Tomorrow I'll call my family. Tomorrow. And tomorrow never came. So you had $1,000 and a dream to be in business for ourselves. We didn't know what business, we didn't know how we were going to do it, but we wanted to be in business for ourselves. The coffee store in those days was much like you might imagine a 18th century tobacconist store in England, where people would come in and make their own little blends of tobacco and people would keep careful records. Well, that's what we did. People would come in and they'd buy their own blends. There were no liquid coffees. They were just dry goods with some brewing equipment, and it was a very upscale market. And it was a disaster. I remember we built our first store, 154 square feet, a little kiosk in the center of Scarborough Town Center. And we designed it with a counter, and in the counter there were these bins, and in the bins were all labeled Colombian, Brazil, Kenya, Mocha Java, etc. And they were there. And when we opened the store, we called the coffee supplier to the Yellow Pages, and he delivered the coffee. In those days, the coffee came in lined paper sacks, and it was stamped on the outside, Brazil, Colombian, Mocha Java, and you put the Mocha Java in the Mocha Java. It was pretty simple. So we got that done, and we sort of opened the store, and we were there, and we decided that the hours were very long, we'd better hire some help. And we were very, very lucky. We hired somebody who knew something about coffee, and she came in and she took one look at the coffee bean. She said, "Oh, they're all the same bean." The guy just changed the stamp. "You want Colombian? Okay, then you've got Colombian." We were terribly naive. So much so that we opened 2 more stores, one conveniently located in Ottawa, and lost money even quicker. The good news was we didn't have a bookkeeper, so we didn't know that. And the 3 ideas that changed the second cup happened right there. Thinking out of the box. Or the job box, I think. Tom said, "Remember I sampled those coffees? Why don't we brew coffee and we would sample it? People could taste the coffee, see it's better, and they would buy more coffee beans." Pretty standard procedure in grocery stores. The next idea is, why don't we charge for the samples? The margins are much better. And then the idea that made all the difference. Why don't we charge more for our coffee than anybody else in the mall, so people will know they had a good cup of coffee? It worked like a charm. Without hope, we don't have the courage to change. Without hope, we don't make any difference. Without hope, we become small and scared and withdrawn. It's hope that moves us forward. In closing, I'd like to just share with you how I think I see the world today. And Desiderata says it best when it says in part, beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You're a child of the universe. No less than the trees and the stars, you have a right to be here. And whether or not it's clear to you, the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, trust your God, whatever you conceive him to be. And whatever your labors and aspirations and the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. For all its sham, drudgery, and yes, broken dreams, it's still a beautiful world. So be careful and strive to be happy.